Welcome to all. I am Vibhuti CP from KG Sommaya College, Kopargaon. Here we are going to learn the CHI 130 course. From that we learn the main group element for MSc first year student. So let's start our topic. The last time we learned about some syllabus related to the main group elements and also complete the hydrogen and hydrides. Okay, here today we are going to learn the alkali and alkaline earth metal. From that topic they includes the metal or alkali metal in non-aqueous media and also the application of the crown ether in extraction of the alkali metals. So today we are going to learn alkali and alkaline earth metal. So let's start our topic. First, alkali metal in non-aqueous media. Here, an inorganic non-aqueous solvent is a solvent other than the water. What is non-aqueous solvent? That means the solvent other than the water. That is not an organic compound. These are the inorganic compound. For example, the liquid ammonia, liquid sulfur dioxide, phosphoryl chloride, antimony tetrachloride, bromine pentafluoride, hydrogen fluoride. These are the inorganic solvent. Okay, here there are the different types of non-aqueous solvents. First type is a protic and non-protic solvent. Protic, proton, that means hydrogen. Here the solvent from which the proton can be derived is called as a protic solvent. Examples are water, sulfuric acid. These are the non-aqueous solvent, or these are the inorganic solvent, and these are the protic solvent. Why? Because they derive the proton. Proton means H plus ion. Second one, that is non-protic solvent, that means the solvent from which proton cannot be derived are called as a non-protonic solvent. The examples are ammonia, sulfur dioxide, benzene chloride, etc. Okay, these are the second type. Next type is here let we learn some examples of protic and non-protic solvent or protic solvent. The protic or protonic solvents includes the ammonia, HF, H2SO4. These are a non-aqueous solvent which derives the proton, or this contains the hydrogen or the proton. That's why it is called as a protic solvent. Ammonia is a protonic or protic solvent. How they reacted as a solvent? Here this ammonia which is dissociated into NH4 plus and NH2 minus. Okay, here this also ammonium ion and the amide ion. Second one is HF which is also dissociated into H2F and HF2 minus, that is hydrogen difluoride, and these are reacted with the another compound for the dissolution. They are dissociated into positive and negative charges, and that's why here any solute which can be easily dissolved in that solvent. Okay, here acidic or protogenic solvent. Here these are the non-acidic, and here there are the two types of that solvent. First that is the acidic and basic solvent. From that, the acidic solvent, that means H2SO4, HCl, acetic acid, HCN. These are the acidic protonic solvent. This contains the proton. And basic or protophilic solvent, it includes the ammonia and the N2H4. Okay, these are the basic or the protophilic solvent. The protic solvent also divided into the two types. First acidic or protogenic solvent, and second one that is the basic or protophilic solvent. Next type here, that is a protonic or non-protonic solvent. Here these are we learn the example, that is a benzene, chlorophyll, carbon tetrachloride. This doesn't contain the or proton. Okay, that means this is not dissociated into the proton. That's why these are the non-protic or aprotic solvent. Here we take their dissociation. If we take SbCl2, these are dissociated into SbCl2 plus SbCl4 minus. Here also PoCl3, which is dissociated into PoCl2 and PoCl4 minus. That means these are the solvent which is dissociated into positive and negative charge, and that's why any solute which can be dissolved into that solvent. Okay, this is the protic and non-protic solvent. Next type is the acidic, basic and the amphoteric solvent. Here in first acidic solvent, the solvent which have the tendency to donate the proton are called as a acidic solvent. Okay, here in nature examples are acetic acid, HF, etc. Second, what is the basic solvent? That means the solvent which have a strong tendency to accept the proton, that is called as a basic solvent. Okay, examples are what? The ammonia. This is the example of the basic solvent. Third type, the here example are liquid ammonia, pyridine, etc. And next one is the amphoteric solvent. That means the solvent which neither have a tendency to gain the proton or lose the proton are called as amphoteric solvent. Here this in second type, first type we learned protic and aprotic solvent. Second type is acidic, basic or amphoteric solvent. Here what is the acidic solvent? That means the solvent which have a tendency to donate the proton, that is called as acidic solvent. Examples are the acetic acid, HF. Basic solvent, that means the solvent have a tendency to to accept the proton, is called as a basic or protophilic solvent. Examples are liquid ammonia, benzene or pyridine, etc. Next is what? The amphoteric solvent, that means the solvent which neither have a tendency to gain or to lose the proton, is called as amphoteric solvent. The examples of water molecule, alcohol, these are the amphoteric solvent. Okay, here third type is the ionizing and non-ionizing solvent. Okay, yes, the third type, that is ionizing and non-ionizing solvent. The solvent which are capable of undergoing a self-ionization or auto-ionization is called as ionizing solvent. Examples are what? Water molecule, ammonia, these are self-ionizable. Okay, next is what? The solvent which do not ionize at all are called as non-ionizing. That means the solvent are not auto ionized, that is called as a non-ionizable solvent. Examples are the benzene, hydrocarbon, etc. Next fourth type is what? Coordinating and non-coordinating solvent. Coordinating solvent, that means what? The solvent which are capable of coordinating with a metal ion or anion. The solvent which is bonded with the metal ion or the anion is called as a coordinating solvent. Examples are ammonia, SO2 and the ammonium. Here these are the example, SO2, DMSO. These have the tendency to bonded with the metal like this manner. Here this metal bonded with the NH3. Here this NH3 is what? The solvent. Okay, that is called as a coordinating solvent. And non-coordinating, that means no the other hand, on the other hand, the solvent which are not capable of coordinating with the metal ion of the solute are called as a non-coordinating solvent. That means what? The solute which is dissolved in the solvent, how they are, this solute is coordinated. Solute is the metal, and which is coordinated with the ligand or coordinated with the solvent, which is acts as a ligand, that is called as a coordinating solvent. Non coordinating, that means these are not capable of coordinating with the metal ion, that is called as a non coordinating solvent. Example are CCl4, saturated hydrocarbon, etc. Okay, here the important point is what in this syllabus, um, it includes the ammonia. Here we are going to learn the non-aqueous solvent as a ammonia. We are going to learn in detail about only the ammonia as a non-aqueous solvent. Okay, for just only your sake of knowledge, we learn their types of the solvent. Okay, here let's we learn the liquid ammonia as a non-aqueous solvent. Let's we learn there are some physical property. The freezing point of the ammonia is minus 77.7 degrees Celsius. Their boiling point is minus 33.38. Their dielectric constant is 22. Their liquid range is minus 77 to minus 33. Heat of fusion is 0.018 kilojoule per mole. The ammonia is self ionized and also acts as a associated solvent. Next is why ammonia acts as a better solvent. Why? Because this ammonia is a poor conductor of electricity. Okay, next is what the specific heat of ammonia is greater than the water, less viscous. This ammonia is a less viscous than a water, and here it has a high critical temperature and also the pressure. It has a less associated than the water, and it has a less hydrogen bonding, and that's why due to this reason here this ammonia is acts as a better solvent than the water. Here in your uh, question paper, always ask the question that is alkali solution in a liquid ammonia. What happens whenever the alkali solution is dissolved in the liquid ammonia or liquid ammonia acts as a solvent? Okay, let's start this topic. Here the most striking property of a liquid ammonia is its ability to sorry to dissolve the alkali metals. The resulting solution are blue and a good electrical conductor. When the alkali metal are dissolved in a liquid ammonia, then this alkali metal get ionizes to Na plus and it releases the electron. It ionizes to the ion and what the valence electron. The both alkali metal and the electron becomes solvated by the ammonia molecule. What happen here? Whenever alkali solution, alkali compound which is dissolved in the liquid ammonia, then what happen? The alkali are self ionized or dissolve and it ionize into what? Its ion and free electron. If you take the example of the sodium, this sodium which is put into the ammonia solvent, that time what happens? Sodium get ionized into sodium ion and it releases the free electron. Okay, here both these alkali metals, that is the sodium metal and the electron, become solvated by the ammonia molecule. Then what happen here? Then here the sodium metal which is reacted with or which is combined with the x number of ammonia which is as acts as a solvent. Okay, that means around the sodium metal or sodium ion, the number of ammonia which is uh, gathered around, then there is a formation of the complex that is NaNH3X plus, that is called as the ammoniated cation. There is a formation of what? Ammoniated cation. And the free electron also here surrounded by the Y number of ammonia, and there is a formation of the ammoniated electron, that is E. It is surrounded by the Y number of ammonia having a negative charge. Okay, this is called as ammoniated electron, and the sodium is surrounded by the X number of ammonia having a positive charge. It's called as a ammoniated cation. The complete reaction may here be written as this: sodium gives the Na plus NH3 X number raised to X plus charge, and E plus another complex is E surrounded by the NH3 Y numbers having a negative charge. Here, whenever this solution is formed, these solutions are here the ammoniated electron are responsible for a blue color of the solution. Whenever this electron get free, that solution becomes a paramagnetic, and that's why due to their paramagnetism, here the solution becomes what? Blue in color. Solution becomes blue in color. Always ask in net set examination, why reaction with the sodium metal in a liquid ammonia solution becomes blue in color. What happened here? Whenever metal, alkali metal dissolve in the ammonia, the metal releases or metal ionizes to metal ion and the free electron. This free electron is surrounded by the ammonia solution, and here this, due to this free electron, this solution becomes a paramagnetic, and that's why here they shows the color blue due to the free electron. And that's why here this due to this function, here this sodium metal in a liquid ammonia, which is used as a solvent, used in a number of reduction reactions. For example, Birch reduction. In this first Birch reduction and the number of reduction reaction, we used this type of the solvent. Okay, this is about the alkali metal in the liquid ammonia. This is very important for your examination point of view. Next, we are going to learn the next topic, that is crown ether and application of the crown ether in the extraction of the alkali metals. Okay, let's learn what is the crown ether. Crown ether are the cyclic chemical compound that consist of a ring containing a several ether group. Crown ether, that means what? Here this is a cyclic compound. You can see in this picture there are the number of cyclic compounds containing a several ether compound. Okay, ROR, that is called as a ether. Okay, the most common crown ether are the oligomer of ethylene oxides. Here the important member of this series are the tetramer, that means here is equal to 4, pentamer, that is n is equal to 5, and the hexamer, that is n is equal to 6. The term crown refers to a resemblance between the structure of the crown ether bound to a cation and the crown sitting on a person's head. Why it is called as a crown ether? Because this, whenever metal is resemble in the like this structure, ether structure, it look like a crown on the person's head. That's why it is called as a crown ether. These are some examples of the crown ether. Here let's learn the nomenclature of the crown ether. The crown ether are designated as per IUPAC nomenclature, also by a short names Pedersen crown nomenclature. It is also represented by the notation is 18 crown 6. Here this 18 means the number of atoms present in that crown, and 6 means number of heteroatom. Here that means number of oxygen. Okay, here if we take the example of here below, here there are 18 total number of carbon and the oxygen. Here number of carbon and oxygen, that is the 18, and 6 means what, the number of only oxygen. Here how many oxygen is there, 6 oxygen is there, and the total number of carbon and oxygens are the 18. That's why the name of this crown ether is what, the 18 crown ether. Okay, here in first case, here this is what is the name of this crown, first crown ether, that is the 4 12 crown 12 crown 4. Okay, this is the name of first crown ether. Second one is what is the name of this second crown compound, that is what, here this second number having the name what, 15 crown what 5, 15 crown 5. Like this manner you can name any of the crown ether compound. Likewise here the another compound is cryptand. What is the cryptand? Here the molecule entity comprising a cyclic or polycyclic assembly of binding sites that contains a 3 or more binding sites held together by a covalent bond. In a crown ether there is a polycyclic compound of only what, oxygen, heteroatom is only oxygen. But in case of cryptand, here with the oxygen, here the number of cyclic compound which can be bound by what, another heteroatom. That means in this case it may be the alkyl group is bound by oxygen and also another heteroatom, that is a nitrogen. In this case here in this cryptand, this cyclic compound is bound by what, oxygen and also here the nitrogen, and that's why it is called as a cryptand. What is the definition of this? A molecule entity comprising a cyclic or polycyclic assembly of binding site that contain 3 or more binding sites held together by a covalent bond. The adduct must form is called as a cryptid, that is called as what, cryptid. The term usually restricted to a bicyclic or oligocyclic molecular entity. Here this is in case of crown ether, this is only monocyclic compound, but in case of cryptid these are the bicyclic or oligocyclic molecule. Here there are two cyclic, you can see in this picture, that means this is what, bicyclic compound. This is what, bicyclic compound containing two different heteroatoms, two type of the heteroatom. That's why it is called as a bicyclic bicyclic cryptid. Let's we learn the use of crown ether. Here the ability of the crown ether to complex cation can be exploited in a nucleophilic substitution reactions. What happened here? What happened here? This is the example of the 18 crown 6, which is useful for the nucleophilic substitution reaction. And what happened here? 18 crown 6, which is reacted with the KCN. Here KCN contains dissociated into what? K plus and Cn minus. And here the crown is useful for to trap the potassium, to trap the alkali metal. Okay, and that's why here the host case complex soluble in a non-polar solvent. Then what happened? This potassium which is enter into the cavity of this crown, and there is a formation of this like this structure. Okay, and here there is a formation of what? Stronger nucleophile. By the removal of the alkali metal from the KCN, this potassium it is entered into the whole of the crown ether, and here this is trapped. This potassium is a positively charged and the oxygen are the negatively charged atom, and that's why this is attracted by this potassium, and there is a formation of this type of the solvent. Here the host guest complex soluble in the non-polar solvent. Okay, and here there is a formation of what? Strong nucleophile. Then the strong nucleophile which is treated with what? Ethyl bromide. There is a formation of the ethyl cyanide by the removal of the bromine. That's why this is useful as what? Nucleophilic substitution reaction. Also here this complex cation goes into the solution. It carries the anion with it to maintain the neutrality. The relatively unsolvated anion is extremely unsolvated anion, that is a negatively charged atom, which is extremely what? Nucleophilic. Another application is what? This is very useful for the extraction of the alkali metals. Okay, in a what metallurgy, uh, that time what happened, if you want to separate out the metal from the different mixture of the metal, that time here every crown ether which has a ability to trap or trap only the one metals according to the size of the crown ether. Okay, here that means, for example, this potassium has a this 18 crown 6 only trap the potassium, not the lithium and the calcium, another alkali metals. Why? Because due to the size of that 18 crown 6, which is only what? Trap the potassium into its hole. Okay, here that's why here this is very useful for what? The extraction of the alkali metal from metallurgy or in a biological system, and also in our body. Here these are some examples of the crown ethers which is useful for the extraction of the specific metal only. Here first is what? The 12 crown 4. This is a small crown ether, and that's why here this crown ether is only useful for to trap only the lithium. Okay, next is what? This NaOH 15 crown 5. This is the crown ether useful only for the what? Sodium. That means from in this hole of this that crown ether only sodium metal which can be tapped, okay, or adjusted. Next is what? 18 crown 6. This is only for what? Potassium. Here you can see here this is a three-dimensional structure of the 18 crown 6, and also here this is the another three-dimensional structure of the cryptad, which is also useful for what? The potassium. Of the whole of this there is a trapping of what? The potassium, another metal which cannot be entered into that hole of that crown ether. Okay, that's why this is very specific for the specific metal ion, and that's why this is useful for the extraction of the metals. Okay, here this is a, you can see there are the different crown ether. 12 crown 4 useful for the lithium. Here this 15 crown 5 which is useful for the sodium, 18 crown 6 is useful for the potassium, 21 crown 7 is useful for the rubidium, 24 crown 8 is useful for the cesium, and here another cryptad which is useful for what? The potassium. This is about the crown ether and the cryptan, which is very useful for the extraction of the metal ion. Thank you very much for watching this lecture. Next lecture we will start the p block elements. Okay, here must watch this lecture, comment on writing your name and the roll number. It's compulsory to all MSc first year students. Thank you very much.